passed and the police haven't found Gulf yet. Even when Mr. Lee returned from abroad, he immediately searched for Gulf's whereabouts, but to no avail. A few days ago, many Gumiho in the area were killed by a group of vampires. But strangely, the vampires only stole the blood of the Gumiho and left their bodies scattered in the area. It's been a week since Mew was in a coma. A few days ago, the vampires sent by Bunda Violet were the ones who stole the Gumiho's blood and skin for an operation and treatment for Mew. 2 days ago, Mew finally woke up from his coma. He regained consciousness and asked Bunda Violet to put him to sleep in Gulf's room, but not Gulf. Gulf was still lying unconscious due to the effects of the medicine. Mew gave him a dosage that exceeded the normal limit, especially considering that Gulf would not be able to wake up without the blood flowing through Mew's body. Bunda Violet still forbade Mew from giving his blood to Gulf because his condition hadn't fully recovered yet. Ejakinas, who was by Gulf's side, watched as Gulf's face grew paler. His lips turned blue and his brown eyelids darkened. Day by day, Gulf's condition didn't improve. Therefore, Mew tried to heal himself quickly so he could give his blood to Gulf. Slowly, Mew could stand and walk slowly. He continued to take care of his health every day until 3 days later. He was 90% recovered. He immediately went to Bunda Violet to help him wake up Gulf. Bunda Violet had no choice but to comply with Mew's stubborn request. Slowly, Mew's blood was taken until 2 large bottles were full. That was enough. Afterward, Mew immediately looked for other prey, such as wild animals or humans, to take their blood. After the blood draw, Bunda Violet slowly fed Gulf with Mew's blood, but when there was still 1 bottle left, Mew wanted to give Gulf his own blood and told Bunda Violet to leave his room. Mew positioned Gulf's head on his arm. Then he drank his own blood and took the opportunity to kiss Gulf's lips so that his blood would enter Gulf's lips. After giving Gulf his blood, Mew intended to bring Gulf home. Bunda Violet didn't really allow him, but because of Mew's stubborn nature, she finally allowed him to go home with some of her men following him, primarily Duo, Arson, and Dylan. When they arrived at Mew's house, there were already 15 guards in front, 20 inside and 10 behind. Mew took Gulf to his room and put him to bed. He covered Gulf up to his chest and left him alone in the room, because Mew had something else to do. Now, Mew was in his office, where Duo, Arson, and Dylan were sitting on their respective chairs. Mew was still focused on the laptop in front of him, searching for someone's background while sipping Screaming Eagle Cabernet wine. This wine, which was auctioned off in 1992, has a special taste, different from ordinary red wine. 1 bottle of Screaming Eagle Cabernet costs around Rp 6.3 billion 1 bottle. This fantastic price makes it one of the most expensive wines in the world. And Screaming Eagle Cabernet has the best wine quality ever found. But Mew didn't just collect 1 bottle of Screaming Eagle Cabernet. He had a whole room filled with various wines from different brands. Mew, Du called, still focused on the paper in his hand. Mew turned his head. Du walked over to Mew and showed him the paper. Here. Mew looked at the contents of the paper. Isn't he the werewolf who almost killed your brother back then? Du said, pointing at the paper he handed over. Arson and Dylan also looked to see who Du was referring to. Mew furrowed his brows. He was the one who ordered the police to arrest you. Du continued. Where is he now? I don't know, but I already have his contact. I'll track him down. Dylan, you find the background of that girl from the dorm. And you, Arson, make an appointment with Mr. Lee, but don't let him know where my house is. Mew's 3 friends returned to their seats, each carrying out his order. They were really busy today dealing with the recent events. The paper Dew showed was a picture of Nani with Gulf in the park. The conversation between them was written on the paper. Don't ask how to got that paper, because his skills were said to be beyond Mew's. In the depths of his unconscious mind, Gulf was feeling lonely. He dreamed that the person he had been waiting for had returned to his side. Sadly, it was just a dream. Gulf regained consciousness after dreaming of the girl he longed for. He rubbed his eyes to make sure he was fully awake from his subconscious. Slowly, he tried to get out of bed, but his head felt dizzy, and the objects around him seemed to be moving on their own. He held his head with both hands, lightly tapped it, and rubbed his eyes again until his vision returned to normal. Gulf walked towards the mirror in the room. He stared at his reflection wearing white clothes with his hair almost entirely blonde. However, he was focusing on the mark on his lower lip. He sighed. He knew what caused the wound on his lip. It must have been the work of that crazy vampire. He remembered what happened before he came here. It wasn't just him who was brought here. He tried to find sharp objects or anything to defend himself against. Mew in every drawer and cabinet, but Gulf couldn't find a single thing that could help him. He sighed softly until he thought of the things in the bathroom. He immediately walked into the bathroom to look for what he needed. Upon arriving in the bathroom, Gulf rummaged through every spot that was neatly organized with toothpaste, toothbrush, soap, facial cleanser, and many other things arranged in their respective places. He still hadn't found what he was looking for. He was about to give up until he accidentally bumped into a towel near the facial cleanser. The object that fell was a folding knife about 25 centimeters long. Gulf quickly picked it up and hid it in his pants pocket. Then he went out of the bathroom and lay back down on the bed, pretending to be still unconscious. A few minutes later, he heard the sound of the door opening. Luckily, Gulf had already closed his eyes before Mew arrived in his room. He heard the sound of footsteps approaching him, and suddenly, Mew touched his waist. It seemed that Mew was now asleep beside him. Gulf could feel Mew's touch on his stomach. To be honest, he felt ticklish when someone touched him. Mew's fingers kept moving up and down, circling Gulf's navel. Unfortunately, now Gulf felt Mew's lips on his neck. Mew's saliva dripped on his neck, making Gulf unable to bear Mew's behavior. He started to wonder if Mew had acted like this towards him while he was unconscious. The kiss on his neck was suddenly interrupted by Mew's bite, almost making Gulf scream. It was clear he shouldn't have pretended to be unconscious like this. What should Gulf do now? He couldn't scream now. He still tried to hold back his feeling of ticklishness and disgust at every touch from Mew. Mew touched Gulf's smooth cheek and looked at his pink lips. Mew caressed Gulf's lips with his fingers until one of them accidentally entered his mouth. Mew smirked and brought his lips closer to Gulf's. Slap! A sudden sound of a punch was heard. Okay, I can help you with that. Let's translate this story into English and change the character names. Here's the translated version. Gulf could no longer hold back and spontaneously reacted when Mew's lips touched his. Gulf opened his eyes and immediately punched Mew's cheek. But when he tried to move back away from Mew, he fell off the bed. Mew chuckled from the bed, and he was about to approach Gulf to help him up. but Golf quickly moved back. Mew stopped in his tracks when he saw Golf, who seemed genuinely afraid of him. Soon, Mew quickened his pace and grabbed Golf's wrist, pulling him forcefully until Golf was pushed onto the bed. Not stopping there, Mew brought his body over. Golf unlocked Golf's wrists with one hand placed on top of Golf's head. Golf kept struggling, but his efforts were useless. Mew was much stronger than him. Mew stroked Golf's cheek, and Golf kept shaking his head so that he wouldn't smile at Mew, until Mew grabbed Golf's jaw, making it impossible for Golf to struggle or move. Golf glared at Mew as if he wanted to kill him. "Are you trying to trick me? It's not you who tricked me, you idiot." Mew twisted Golf's ear until it turned red. "Does it hurt? Are you asking me again?" "Of course, it hurts, you idiot," Golf replied angrily, his jaw also hurting. Mew chuckled, then his fingers explored every part of Golf's pants. Reaching into his pocket, Golf wanted to stop him, but Mew had already found the folding knife he had hidden. Now Golf dared not speak, especially after seeing Mew's face. After finding the knife in his pocket, it was truly terrifying. "Are you trying to escape?" Mew asked coldly. "No, I just wanted to look for my son around your house." "Using this knife?" Golf nodded slowly. "Do you think it's enough to fight the guards around my house?" "It's called effort. You never know the outcome unless you try," Golf argued back. Mew exhaled slowly. Then he released his grip on Golf's hands and walked out of the room. Golf looked on in wonder at Mew's departure. Damn! How did he know? Golf insisted on thinking about how Mew could have known that he was carrying a knife in his pants pocket. Golf looked at every room ceiling and sure enough, his guess was right. There were 3 CCTVs in this room. Golf sighed heavily, lamenting that his attempt to escape had failed. Golf turned when he heard the door open. He saw Mew carrying a medicine box in his hand and walking towards him. Golf took a step back. Mew sighed heavily as he saw Golf moving further away from him. "Do you want to use force?" "Huh?" Golf didn't understand what Mew meant. Mew placed the medicine box on the drawer, then walked quickly and directly pressed Golf's body against the wall of his room. Golf was confused. He tried to push Mew's body away, but his body was too strong. Golf's strength wouldn't be enough to push Mew's body away from him. Get away. I'm suffocating. Suffocating. Do you want me to help you breathe?" Mew moved his mouth forward and almost touched Golf's lips, but Golf closed his lips with both his palms while shaking his head. Mew chuckled softly, seeing Golf's behavior, which was so adorable to him. He pulled Golf's wrist, then asked Golf to sit on the bed. Golf was still trying to wriggle free. "Do you want me to use force again?" he hissed, making Golf speechless and choosing to remain silent. Mew opened the medicine box and took out a bottle. Then Mew knelt in front of Golf and lifted Golf's leg onto his thigh. Golf rolled up his long pants up until Golf's knee was exposed, which still showed a scar. Mew poured the medicine on top of Golf's wound slowly while blowing on it. "Does it hurt?" Mew asked softly. Golf nodded. "Sorry. Hold on a sec." Mew continued to blow on Golf's wound until Golf no longer winced in pain. Then Mew took a small bandage to cover Golf's wound. "You didn't hurt Kevin at all, did you?" Golf asked cautiously. "Kevin." Mew put Golf's leg back on the floor after finishing treating Golf's wound. "Why would I hurt my own son?" he continued while cleaning up the medicine box. "You're crazy." Golf stood up forcefully, staring sharply at Mew. "You told Kevin that you're his dad too." Mew turned to Golf, then forced Golf to sit back down. "Yes, but he didn't believe me." You're really stupid. So where is he? Do you want to meet Kevin? Yes. Where is he? Mew smiled strangely, then whispered in Golf's ear. After you let me have my way, I'll introduce you to Kevin. Damn! Hearing Mew's crude words, Golf spontaneously pushed Mew's body until he fell to the floor. He didn't speak. Golf just stood silently staring intently at Mew. Then he tried to get up to quickly walk towards the door, but Mew quickly grabbed Golf's arm. Golf struggled. This time Golf was really impatient to see his son. Let go! I want to see Kevin for a moment. Just 1 minute. Please let go. Golf! Mew yelled, making Golf stop and look fearfully when he heard Mew's yell. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to yell at you. Golf ignored him. He lowered his head. Golf was annoyed. You're always like this. Just 1 minute, no. 20 seconds. Let me see Kevin. Mew held Golf's waist, then led Golf to walk back and sit on the sofa. Wait here. I'll get you some food. I'm not hungry. I just want to see Kevin for a moment. Golf interrupted. Mew ignored him. He left Golf without replying to Golf's plea. Golf was annoyed. He slammed the bottle next to him so that it fell to the floor. Then Golf lay down and covered his entire body from head to toe with a thick blanket. His mouth kept muttering, cursing at Mew. You damn vampire, you jerk. Just 1 minute is not allowed. Damn it. Just wait. I'll get you back later. So arrogant being a person. Are you really an artist? He muttered behind the thick blanket that covered his face. As Mew was about to go back into the room, Duke called his name and pulled Mew until they arrived in his workroom. Mew, you don't want to meet that girl by yourself, do you? Mew shook his head. Why? Is there a problem? It's not like that. But isn't it strange that you suddenly kidnapped her here? What if Golf knows? Mew fell silent for a moment. That's my business. Just take care of your job and keep feeding him. Don't be late, he said. Then Mew went back to enter Golf's room. Mew opened the door to Golf's room and he didn't see Golf in the room. But when he saw the bulging blanket, Mew smiled slyly. Then he walked towards the bed and placed the food he had brought on the bedside drawer. Mew sat on the edge of the bed while stroking the top of the blanket. Golf. Still angry, Mew slowly opened the blanket that covered Golf's face and saw Golf pretending to sleep. Mew lifted Golf's body in between his armpits to try to sit Golf on his lap, but Golf struggled first and he sat silently leaning back against the headboard. Golf played with his fingers. Mew took the tray containing the food then placed it on his thigh. Eat first, okay? Golf still remained silent. Mew lifted a spoon that was already filled with meat and brought it closer to Golf's mouth, but Golf turned his face away. What exactly did you do at the dormitory? Golf said coldly. Golf, don't act like this to me. You must have planned something behind my back, he retorted. Mew sighed heavily and put the spoon back on the plate. Golf, stop. What's your relationship with Alicia? Golf, get out. I can eat by myself without you. I want to feed you, Golf. Feed me, he retorted. You think I don't have my own hands? Let Mew. Golf yelled. You want to pretend to care about me again? Oh, or do you intend to take my child? Golf, you. That's not true. Then why? Why did you come back to me when I had already managed to forget you? What do you want from me? Tell me now. You want to know what I want? Mew paused for a moment before continuing. I want to make you like me again. Then you'll leave me again. Golf began to get annoyed. I don't even know clearly how your relationship with Alicia is, and you're asking me to like you again? Mew, I know you don't really love me, Stop. Why is my statement true this time? Golf argued back. Don't talk nonsense. Then what should I say? Golf sighed heavily. You know what they say to me out there. Mew fell silent. He looked at Golf sadly. You're a slut. You're a disgusting man. How much are you for a night? Your child will surely inherit his father's talent. Golf tried to hold back his tears. Have you ever thought even a little bit about the consequences of your actions on me? Golf, stop. It's been 7 years. Golf paused for a moment before continuing. It's been 7 years. They've been covering my ears every time I hear insults from them. You know what I needed at that time? I needed you, Mew. I needed you to give me the will to live, but what? You ended up dumping me and your own son. Golf, I'm sorry. Golf retorted immediately. Sorry. Golf smiled cynically. People like you can never sincerely say sorry. You'll just repeat it again later. Golf, please listen to me for a moment. You're the one who should listen to me. Golf retorted again. Mew, please don't bother me anymore. Please. I'm begging you, don't make me hate you even more. Release Kevin. Return him to Mr. Lee and I will follow all your orders. If you want to make me your sex slave or just your outlet, it doesn't matter to me, but please, don't involve Kevin. Alright, Mew replied. You want to be my sex slave? Golf fell silent. He bit his own lip. Take off your clothes. Golf's eyes widened. He didn't expect Mew to do what he just said. You're willing to follow what I said, right? Mew murmured when Golf remained silent. Golf seemed hesitant, but you'll release Kevin, right? That depends on you. If you can satisfy my lust and you can also enjoy it, I will release Kevin. What? Golf shouted in surprise. But that's no refusal. Mew replied. After you make me your sex slave. Don't blame me if I can't like you anymore. Mew froze when he heard Golf's words. Whether you want to like me or not, let that be my concern. Because right now, I really want to make you mine. Mew went out of Golf's room. Then a few minutes later, Mew entered Golf's room again, carrying a glass of water and a black box. Mew sat down beside Golf. Drink this, Mew said, handing Golf the glass of water he had brought earlier. Golf was still silent, looking down, not responding to what Mew said. Mew gently held Golf's chin, then tilted it to the side towards him. Drink this water. At least after you drink this water, it won't feel as painful as the first time you tried it. Hesitantly, Golf took the glass, then drank it slowly until there wasn't a single drop left. Mew took the glass from Golf's hand, then placed it on the drawer. Then Mew unbuttoned Golf's shirt one by one. Mew laid Golf down under him. Mew began to kiss Golf's nipples alternately, making the effect of the aphrodisiac in the drink that Mew had given him start to react in Golf's body. Golf moaned earlier when Mew first kissed Golf's nipples. It didn't feel anything at all, but now, when the aphrodisiac was affecting Golf's body, Golf felt hot. Hot and also pleasurable every time Mew touched him. Mew smirked, seeing Golf's expression that seemed to want more. Mew raised his head to Golf's neck. Then Mew licked Golf's neck slowly. He left several kiss marks on Golf's neck and also on his chest. Golf bit his lip, trying to hold back the moan that came from his mouth. Golf gripped the bedsheet tightly beside his thigh, while turning his face away and closing his eyes. Mew, not hearing Golf's moan anymore, he looked at Golf's face. Mew touched Golf's ear between the pillows covering his ears. Then Mew stroked Golf's cheek while pushing him to the side so he wouldn't turn his face away. Then Mew whispered, "Want to see Kevin safe, right?" He whispered, "Do what I say." don't turn your face away. Don't close your eyes and don't hold back your moans. Immediately, Golf opened his eyes, staring intensely at Mew while frowning. Those 3 things are what I want to feel when I'm with you. So don't do that when you're with me. Mew kissed Golf's cheek, then he moved to sit beside Golf to take the lubricant from the black box he had brought earlier. Golf's body felt even hotter when Mew stopped touching him. Mew took off all the clothes he was wearing, and then Mew also took off Golf's pants that were still on. Hey, wait! Golf protested while holding Mew's wrist, which was now touching his pants. That... You don't want to use protection, he said, looking very embarrassed. It's not like that, it's just... afraid of getting pregnant again, Mew retorted immediately. Golf fell silent. Oak, I'll use a safety guard later, Mew said while stroking Golf's belly. Then he took off Golf's pants, and after that Mew also took off his pants. Golf rounded his eyes, seeing how big Mew's trunk was. It's bigger than 7 years ago. Mew smiled wryly at Golf, who looked like he had never seen a penis as big as his. Why, scared, said Mew, who was still smiling crookedly. Golf immediately refocused. No, he replied. Mew took the rope and tied Golf's hands. Hey, why are they tied? Golf asked. You'll run away if you don't tie them. Then Mew tied Golf's legs with rope. After finishing tying Golf's legs and hands, Mew woke Golf up and positioned Golf sitting next to the bed. Then Mew brought his face right in front of Golf's face. Golf frowned. What are you? Suck. So Mew. She glanced at her trunk. Me? Then who else if not you? But me? Impatient. Mew grabbed Golf's head and put the tip of her trunk into Golf's small mouth. Golf kept beating Mew's thighs. He couldn't take a breath. Mew was pressing his head too hard. Mew still ignored Golf's blows until a few minutes later, when he took out his trunk and kissed Golf's lips roughly, exploring all over Golf's teeth and tongue, playing with Golf's tongue and exchanging saliva with each other. It was a one-sided kiss, too rough to give Golf a chance to breathe. Golf kept patting Mew's shoulder because he was almost out of breath. Mew, who was still carried away by the kiss, grabbed Golf's waist and pushed him gently until Golf fell back on the bed and Mew fell on top of him. Mew still hasn't let go of the kiss. It's too bad if Mew lets go of the kiss now. After feeling satisfied, Mew just released her kiss and immediately turned Golf's body slowly. Golf was still resetting his breath, which was already ragged. His lips were sore from Mew's bite. Mew immediately took the lubricant and poured it on Golf's ass until the lubricant flowed between his thighs. Wait, Mew. Mew didn't respond to Golf's words. He spread all the lube onto his trunk as well and immediately inserted it into Golf's hole with one stroke. Golf groaned at the sudden impact. Then Mew turned Golf's body back to its original position so she could see Golf's face. Then Mew began to stroke and caress Golf's trunk, which had also hardened. Sorry, Mew immediately took out his rod when he heard Golf sigh loudly. Does that hurt? Yes. Crazy. That really hurt, Golf said. Hold on a second, will you, baby? Mew said. Golf shook his head. Now Mew brought his face right in front of Win's hole and licked it without any disgust. No, it's dirty. Mew stopped, said Golf while holding Mew's head. Shut up, or do you want me to put my rod in again? Golf was silent. He let go of Mew's head and let Mew lick his hole. The touch of Mew's tongue made him feel pleasure. Golf closed his eyes to be more carried away in the atmosphere and also the feeling of pleasure. After licking Golf's hole, Mew stroked Golf's trunk, making Golf let out a long sigh. While enjoying the sound of Golf's sigh, Mew also sucked Wind's shaft, moving her head back and forth faster and faster. She licked the head of Golf's trunk. Mew glanced at Golf's face. He felt satisfied that he could have sex with Golf again after a long time. Mew accelerated his sucking on Golf's trunk as his fingers tickled Golf's belly. Mew, stop. Let go quickly. Come out. Me. I want to come. I can't stand it anymore. Mew ignored Golf's words and accelerated his movements even more. Suddenly, Golf's hand unconsciously grabbed Mew's head and pressed it deeper. Soon thick white liquid came out and filled Mew's mouth until it flowed out. Golf climaxed, his body writhing with pleasure. Mew swallowed the entire sticky liquid without disgust. He smiled with satisfaction. Then Mew poured more lubricant into Golf's ass. Then Mew took a condom and put it on. But because Mew was too rough with the first condom, it tore because it couldn't fit his big and long cock. The second condom, Mew managed to use it. Then he poured more lubricant on his shaft, which was wrapped in the safety device. Then he slowly inserted his shaft again. Wait, I just came out. Rest for a while, Golf said. Why are you scared? It won't hurt. Take it easy. I'm also wearing protection, so I won't get pregnant. It won't matter if you relax. It will feel good, Mew said. But if you struggle, it will hurt. Feeling the time was right, Mew pulled out hers until only the tip of the rod head remained. Then inserted it again with a now pounding. And Mew did that repeatedly. Stupid pain, you crazy vampire. Your words cannot be trusted, Golf said. Golf raised his stomach when Mew stomped his way into his roots. Golf sighed and groaned in pain. Mew grinned with pleasure when his shaft touched the pleasure point inside Golf. Mew started to advance the tempo of his movements, getting faster. It came back out and jerked once. It kept repeating until the Golf was overwhelmed with pleasure. How is it, baby? It's very delicious. Your mouth always refuses me, but your bottom seems to really miss me, Mew said with a mischievous smile. Crazy, but this hurts. You really are crazy. Hurry up and finish this. Do you think I can stand to indulge your unending lust? Hurry up and get out. Mew chuckled a little at Golf's swearing. Since Golf looked cute when he was angry, Mew couldn't help it. She immediately kissed Golf's lips and crushed Golf's tongue, which continued to swear at her. Golf suddenly closed his eyes, trying to savor every touch of Mew's tongue that bound his tongue inside. After a few minutes of kissing, Mew broke the kiss and again accelerated the movements on his bottom. Mew held Golf's waist tightly and then accelerated her strokes. She kissed Golf's neck several times. Suddenly, Mew's body squirmed. A few moments later, a white liquid came out inside the safety cover. Mew had also reached her climax. Golf couldn't move at all. His body went limp and Mew needed to fall down. Before Mew took out his own, he once again kissed Golf's lips gently. Golf seemed to have fallen asleep from exhaustion. Then Mew let Golf fall asleep as needed. Then Mew carried Golf to his room. Upon arriving in her room, Mew laid Golf on the bed and then Mew fell asleep next to Golf and held Golf's body tightly in her arms. Mew constantly kissed Golf's forehead while stroking Golf's hair. A few minutes later, Mew decided to fall asleep while holding Golf's body tightly. Mew felt very happy to be able to fall asleep hugging Golf's body. This was his dream long ago.